news, in that people are finding great and creative and unique ways to create more visibility, right? And I'm going to give you some great tips tonight for how to create more of that visibility without spending a fortune. And, you know, to also tell you that you got to think of publicity like a PR garden. You know, you plant seeds and you watch your garden grow. And so some of you will be able to plant and put your name out there right now in what's going on right now. And some of you will be doing 3, 6, and 9 months ahead. And you know what? It's all good, because you've got to think of publicity like a continuous garden, and you're going to grow it and continue to feed it, right? So it's not just a stop, sort of a once thing. Even listen, I got 4 books and I'm continuously doing PR, sometimes on the books and sometimes on the focus of, you know, putting the name out there easier and simpler. And so I think that's a really important thing, to look at publicity as an ongoing, continuous gardening process. And so with that, I'll tell you, my friend P.T. Barnum, and he would be my friend today, he said it best: a terrible thing happens without publicity. Nothing, nothing. And that's what's happening to people who are doing nothing or putting their heads in the sand or going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. You know, some people's businesses pivoted even better than, you know, than others. So to just say to you, there's always good things to do. And sometimes just finding the right thing to do that's interesting and consistent for you. So that's just really something I want you all to keep in mind. Now, I'd like to lay the groundwork for what is publicity. What is publicity? And so the first thing I want to say is that publicity gives you high return on investment consistently. You know, because why? It gives you increased prospects. It gives you more sales. It gives you increased trust. It gives you more credibility. Publicity gives you more visibility and more clients. It makes you more money, and it gives you more exposure in the marketplace. And I only mean the good kind. And so I've seen, you know, in, like Clint said, over 25 years of working with thousands of people, what's so important about publicity is, number one, to do it, to take a step. But really, it's all about your message. Now, write in the chat, what are the first 2 letters of message? What are the first 2 letters? Let me see, write in the chat. Come on, come on. Yes, Sherry, thank you. Yep, what are the first 2 letters? Thank you, Chuck, absolutely. Yep, Stephen, Millie, yep. Renee, ooh, they're coming good now. Robin, yep, thank you. Yes, the first 2 letters in message is me. What are the last 4 letters of message? What are the last 4 letters of message? Yes, Sage, Renee, thank you. Stephen, Gary, yes. Robin, yes, excellent. Chuck, yes. Christine, yes. The last 4 letters of message is Sage. And in the word message is me, Sage. Now, what are the first 4 letters of message? First 4 letters of message. What is it? Mess, exactly. And my friends, that's what happens when your message isn't right. And so I want to give you right now a great solution for creating a powerful message that works, that's simple, and that's easy. And here it is. You fill in this blank. Let's go back to the other slide. The problem today is, and put, like, you know, a fill in the blank on that. The problem today, I would say the problem today is 4 out of 5 businesses will go out of business because you have no clue how to create publicity without spending a fortune. And then, my friends, because you're the experts, I want you to give solutions. And I prefer 3 solutions. Why 3? People can absorb in 3, they can listen in 3. It just keeps things really easy. And so the other thing I want you to know is you want to give people what I call appetizers, not full meals. Like, tell them good things, give good value. I remember when I wrote Guerrilla Publicity, I was privileged to talk to Entrepreneur Magazine, which I'll show you a little later what they said, and Fast Company. You know, picture this, you in either of those magazines, or frankly in every media, because it all makes a difference. And one of the things they agreed on was that you have to constantly give value and benefit, right? And so with that, I'm going to give you some simple ways. Now, I just gave you a really powerful formula for getting your name out there consistently. And think of these two words: be consistent and persistent in the marketplace. And then I want to show you some practical, really tactical ways to get that done. So one of them is to create your ooh, ah factor. And I spelled it out there for the slide, on the slide, just in case you can't. Your ooh, ah factor. And what I mean by that is, what is it that makes other people go ooh and ah about you? What is it that's interesting or unique? And again, I'll show you some great examples and case studies right tonight in this presentation to see and support that you understand what this means. But as we're talking right now, think about you. What's that ooh, ah factor that when you say it, people's eyes light up, they listen more closely? What is it about you that makes other people go ooh and ah? And it might surprise you. I just want to say that. The other thing I want you to do is use what I like to call everything you've got. Use everything you've got. And what I mean by that is, it could be your ethnicity, it could be your religion, it could be a health matter that there's a month of the year that applies for that. Like my stress coach, and one of the reasons she's a stress coach is she actually had 4th-stage breast cancer. Just when she found out she had 4th-stage breast cancer, her husband left her. Can you imagine? And, in addition to dealing with an illness, a divorce now, splitting of properties and everything else that probably is not the best time, she learned a lot about stress. So what we had her out was talking about in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And that was the good story. That was using everything she's got, right? So you want to be thinking of the months of the year. You want to be thinking about your story. You want to be thinking about whatever works that makes sense for you to, frankly, be getting more news. So I'll just tell you that in the past 10 days, I've been on 7 radio shows. You know what I've been talking about? This happened about a week ago, week and a half. And what's fascinating is I got a text from a major radio station in Columbus, Ohio. Now, I have to tell you, it was Sunday. I don't work on Sundays. Girls got to get some rest, right? And except that, it's the media. And like I'm going to tell you later, when the media says, can you talk about this? You're going to say yes. This was about branding, and they wanted me to talk about Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's, and then dropping the Dixie out of Dixie Chicks. These are hot topics right now. Now, my friends, I'm not a branding expert. I'm a publicity expert, but I know that everything branding ties back to publicity. So when the major media, and I was on literally 7 of them in probably a 4-day period, some of them at outrageous times in the morning for me, like 4:45 in the morning, which is 7:45, and in let's see, that one was in Cincinnati, right? And I was on them in Louisville, in all kinds of, in Houston, all kinds of places, and that was amazing to me. But I'm going to tell you, it wasn't about branding or no branding. It was about the power of publicity. Now, I understand a little bit, Sherry, thank you, that I'm breaking up. Put a thumbs up if you can hear me. And Clint, let's just see, hopefully if they can hear us and that we're good. Ready to go. Back again. Yes, good. Okay, good. Excellent. Well, I'll keep going. Just let me know if there are any technical glitches and issues. These are fun things that we're all learning to deal with in these wonderful new times we're in. which, by the way, I think they're wonderful because I've been able to reach people, teach my courses. I'm noticing at all my networking events, they're more attended than and better attended than ever before. The virtual speaking engagements are wonderful to do. So there's all kinds of, I now call it the Corona bonus, right? And just remember to stay focused on that. So we're going to use everything you've gotten in this branding story. That's what was going on in the media, right? And every time one of these major stations had me on, these are like 50,000 watt Fox radio networks. And when they'd have me on, they'd go, hey, we're welcoming Jill Lublin. She's a master publicity strategist. By the way, then we go into the interview. Maximum interview was 10 minutes long, you know. Hey, listen, I got an opinion. I can share my opinion. So you got to get that the media is a lot about opinions. And when you're focused on your opinion and you know how to put it in a smart way, you too can get lots of media. Because at the end, what they do is they just keep redirecting people back to publicitycrashcourse.com. And what a great way to spend, well, in most cases, the morning with wonderful, I call them the radio dudes across the US, right? Particularly talking about this subject because that was the hot subject at the moment. So think about that for you. What's something you can tune into that's a happening subject for right now? Now, using everything you've got, let me show you one of my clients, Ryan. Ryan is an instructional designer, and he had, well, been downsized from his corporate job. His wife was pregnant with their third child on the way. He had just bought a big house in Northern California. I'm like, Ryan, I don't actually know what instructional design is, but that's quite a story. And one thing God has gifted me is the ability to translate people's messages. And so I said, Ryan, you know what you are? You are a virtual office warrior. And I want you to put in the chat, what's the acronym for virtual office warrior? Go ahead, put it in the chat. What's the acronym for virtual office warrior? Let's see, gold star to the first one. What's the acronym? Yes, Renee, thank you. Yes, Millie, vow. Absolutely. Ryan took a vow, thank you, Gary, never to work in an office again. Well, my friends, that story got him into, look at the screen here, the front page of the San Francisco Business Times. Look at the headline. When fired, you too can vow not to work in an office again. And look where else it got him. Mac Home Journal, Home Computing, Entrepreneur Magazine. Imagine this, you in Entrepreneur Magazine. And if you're on this call tonight, you're an entrepreneur. That's where you belong. This was about finding the right story. And let me show you the power of Ryan's PR results because he was featured in major national magazines. Right, his business revenues increased over 40% using publicity marketing strategies. And one placement in the Chinese Times resulted in over $7,000 in consulting income from just one article. Check that out, one article, $7,000 worth of consulting. Ryan launched his business from zero and laid off to a thriving consulting business using the power of publicity. Hey, Clint, somebody privately chatted me that they'd like to schedule a meeting. Would you please put my how to schedule a meeting with me into the chat? That would be super. It's jilllublin.com/schedule, just so you know. And, you know, so this is the thing about the power of publicity is, now I want you to see something. Ryan used everything he's got. Although he doesn't speak a word of Chinese, he is Asian American. So we basically translated his article, put it into the Chinese Times, one article. Talk about high ROI, $7,000 in business. That's a happy day, you know what I'm saying, right? Now I want to show you how we use this with the Profit of Kindness. This is my fourth book that came out. And I put together a press release because, like I would say to any of you, a book is not the story, right? And what I found the story is the divided states of America. That's the problem we've been having. Remember, what's the problem today, right? And so the problem today is the divided states of America. That got us, check this out, 7 major market TV interviews, including Fox News in Sacramento, in Oakland, Fox News in Las Vegas, in Arizona, CBS News Morning Show in Virginia, and literally 75 radio and podcast interviews and counting. Article placements in Inc. magazine and Forbes twice, an Australian magazine, an Iranian magazine, all over the world, literally. Now, Clint, we're having kindness circles. If you could put the new date in the chat, that would be fantastic. So one thing that got planted in my heart as a seed was to do kindness circles. And that's monthly now. And what we're doing is serving people. They're completely free. And Clint will put the new date and how you register for them. Please come join me in spreading kindness to each other. We get to ask for what you need next. We do cool breakout rooms. And frankly, we have a good time supporting each other with kindness. But you've got to if you look at the media on the bottom third of this screen, you will see how powerful that finding the right media message is. And, that's what worked, is push the right button and find the right media message. And I think that that's really important, that it's not sometimes, what you think it is, my friends. What the media cares about is what they care about. And sometimes it's different than what you care about. So one of the things I'm big on is, just get in the media one way or another, because then here's the good news, you control the message. And Clint, I think, did you put the date of the next, oh, it is there. Yes, thank you. August 15th from 10 to 11:30. Please come on in, and how you register is you go to jilllublin.com/kindness circles. And that's the right message. You see, because remember I told you that you plant seeds for going ahead, right? And in November, it's World Kindness Day on November 13th. That's what we're leading up to with this, is a kindness summit. And so every month, anywhere between 30 to 60 people, and sometimes more, have been joining us for a wonderful circle of kindness. Now that's 30 to 60 a month times, you get the math, right? And that's a tribe that grows. So look for yourself. How can you keep growing your tribe, creating new visibility strategies, and connecting to people in new ways? That's something always to be in a query about and connect to as you're growing. Because, business must grow or you become stagnant, right? And I think in this time of Corona bonus, the good news is that you can look at new ways to reach people. That's a beautiful thing. All right, now let me show you what Entrepreneur Magazine said. When I interviewed them for Guerrilla Publicity, they said a few things. You can read it on the slide, but I particularly want to underline that for a June issue, their production deadline is March. And for a June issue, the writer's deadline is January 15th. Now, 6 months, remember, I told you, plan 3, 6, and 9 months ahead. Particularly for long lead publications, they need you to be thinking ahead, dreaming ahead, connecting ahead, so that they can feature you. Occasionally, like I told you, I get those texts from major media saying, come now, we're doing this week. And that does work. It just doesn't work all the time. And what I'm saying is you're planning ahead, looking ahead for the holidays that are related to you, the months of the year that are related to your topics, right? And knowing that the media plans ahead. And I'll take questions in just a short time. So the thing about doing publicity is that you need to do it the right way. And one of the things that I know about the media is that you just need to say yes. You have to say yes, no matter what they ask you, no matter what they're saying. And you know, you heard my example. Go ahead to the next slide, Clint, because yes is the right answer no matter what. And you know, as much as I mean, I was laughing a little bit at that branding piece, because I'm like, well, maybe I should give this to one of my colleagues who's a branding expert, one of my referrals. But one thing you know, I know is I can answer the questions. And in fact, one of the reporters and I got in a slightly heated discussion. I mean, not really bad, but we just had different opinions. So here's the deal. You can have different opinions. It doesn't matter. That's what makes interesting discussion. I actually felt like he was purposely being slightly aggressive with me. He was actually being aggressive, maybe more than slightly. And I just kind of, you know, I wouldn't step quite into the trap, but I said, yeah, well, you know, that's your opinion. This is how I feel. And that's okay. That's what makes discussion. That's what makes America. And opinions do matter, right? Yes, thank you. Your opinion matters. That's really my point. And just saying yes is really a key. Now, I'm going to come and take some of your questions, but before I do, I'd love to tell you how you can continue to work with me. Because I want you, like I said, to do the publicity the right way. So I've created a virtual publicity course. This is a no-nonsense, get it done, one-day virtual class. It's small group. We will actually craft your message. We're going to write 3 documents, get it done. We're going to roll up our sleeves and literally get your publicity done in one day. Just, you know, get it down so that you don't have to keep thinking about it and going around in circles and figuring it out. I'm going to tell you the right way to get it done. And what's super wonderful about this, you're going to have 4 templates based on those documents we're going to do that you can use for any media project that you have. You know, one woman I worked with, she was in this course, she said that she used 2 of the tactics I taught her and actually got 3 speaking engagements literally, and then appeared in the Seattle Times. She's out of the Seattle area. So it's very no nonsense. It's get it done. And I am a very practical and tactical person. So that's what we're going to do together. There's breakout rooms. There's lots of interaction. And most importantly, you are going to know the right way to reach the media, press releases, how to get it done, how to find media lists, just all the things that people are always asking me. So we've got a great course lined up for how to get it done. Now, here's the deal. This course used to run over $1,000. I mean, ask anyone who's taken it, and the few of them are on this call, they have invested more. And because of the pandemic, let me just say, one of the things I've done, and the way I've pivoted, is I offer the course at a really great discount. I call it my pandemic pricing. It won't last forever, but it is going to be $197, which is just a super value. And how you register is you go to publicitycrashcourse.com, type in the code Stay Visible. Go ahead to one next slide because it shows the dates. Great. You can choose your date. We have September 9th and September 22nd coming up. So again, publicitycrashcourse.com, and enter the promo code Stay Visible. That's all lowercase. Clint's going to put it in the chat, and I am going to see you in Zoom because, and I know somebody sent some nice testimonial flying across there. I know a few of you have taken it, Michelle and Gary, and I know there's a few more on here. Chuck, you were almost on it for a short time, and you sent other people to it. So thank you always for your referrals, and I always appreciate all of you, and it's my delight to serve you. It's my mission to help messengers get their message out, and I want to show you the good way, the systematic way, the easy way to get your publicity done without spending a fortune. All right, my friends, I'm excited to see you there. Clint has posted it in the chat. It's publicitycrashcourse.com, and you put in the code Stay Visible, all lowercase. Beautiful. Now, I'd like to come back, and I know, Clint, there were some specific questions floating by Oh yeah, there's the, if you want to schedule, there's somebody who mentioned they might want to talk to me about a book idea. I'm celebrating a beautiful book. Go ahead back to Gally. I just want to show something I'm celebrating. Because to Gally view, please. Because one of the things that I find so exciting is that I've been helping people get book deals for, gosh, 18 years now. That means I help them find agents and publishers. That's another thing and another piece of my business. So I am celebrating this book that's coming out on Simon and Schuster with a woman named Susie Carter. She actually used to work with Lisa Nichols. And when I help pitch this book to agents and publishers, can I just tell you, not a word was written, right? 6-figure advance on this book. It'll be out in September. Please go look for it. Please go buy it. We love Susie. Power Your Profits. Great book. And I have to tell you also what's sort of funny is when we had actually pitched this book, it was for women. This is obviously a business book. As Susie says, it became 3 books into one. And she did a beautiful job. And this is a gorgeous book coming right out on Simon and Schuster that I helped make happen and facilitate the relationship with the agent. So very excited about that. Now, Clint, go ahead and maybe read me. I know there were some questions in the chat. Would you be so kind to at least read me 1 or 2 of them? I think Millie asked a specific question and there were some others.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question coming from Millie Anderson. How can we plan ahead in the time of COVID?
Yeah, well, guess what? I mean, hopefully, dear God, this will not be here forever. So I want you looking ahead. You know, now, I mean, I'm helping people in their the last quarter, right? The last quarter for success. In 2021, you've got to be planning. So again, think of it 3, 6, and 9 months ahead typically is what actually works for publicity. And I think that makes a big difference. Right? And so be thinking, take a look, Millie, at what are the topics that are aligned for different months next year. And that really works. And again, just plan ahead, think ahead. And when you do that, that's going to work and get you success. Beautiful. You're welcome. You're on mute, but I think you said thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. By the way, give me a thumbs up if you've gotten some good value from the content here so far. Thumbs up. Who knows how to do that? That's your real Zoom test. Yes, you can do it in the, thank you. Oh, thank you. Good. Just keep doing it because I just want to make sure I'm liking to give value here. Always, oh, thank you. Thank you. Those of you who aren't Cameron still doing it, I appreciate that. That's super cool. That's terrific. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good. Clint, go ahead and read the next one and come on camera if you would, please. Would be great.
Yeah, so we have another question coming from, this is an earlier question. Marian, is this considered an intro class, mid-level, or advanced class? So.
Oh, great, for the publicity course. So let me just say, whatever level you're at, I promise it will meet you. And what I love is people who've been coming back. Gary Nicky has been an alumni, and he's come back actually a few times. He came to the New York class in person and another one. And what I remember, Gary, one of the things you said was, well, did you say this before? Well, no, you're different, right? And so things hit you in different ways. What I would tell you is I've had honestly all 3 levels in the class. And what I know is that where you are, you will be met. Meaning you take the material and you apply it to you in the moment of what you're working on. And it makes such a big difference. And you hear it with the ears of what you're working on in the project. So it's a class that suits all levels, promise you that. Thank you. Go ahead, Clint. And by the way, put your hand up. You can raise your hand in the chat. You can raise your hand physically if you have a question and there's something I can actually help you with. So feel free to do either one. Put your hand up, which makes a blue hand. That's kind of pretty. Um, or put your hand up physically so I can see you and we can answer questions just for you. Who's got a question? I got answers, at least a few. Clint, are you seeing any other questions in the chat?
Yeah, someone was asking about a specific topic that should be discussed during this pandemic.
In other words, is there a specific topic that should be addressed? Is that the question?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So, well, let me just tell you, I have a functional medicine doctor, and we're talking about how to stay healthy in COVID times. I have a transformational life coach, and we're talking about how to keep a healthy mindset. I have a woman who's a coach, and she's Black, and I've got her talking about being a Black woman in Black Lives Matter moments, right? I've got a woman who is a parenting expert, and we've got her going out with, how do I parent and train my kids and teach all at the same time? Related, by the way, to another woman who was actually in my virtual publicity course. And during one of the breaks, she said to me, Jill, I got a problem. I'm like, what? She said, well, I'm a business consultant. And frankly, I got kids. She says, my problem is I don't know math. I'm a great business consultant, but I don't know math. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Like, I could never train kids in math, really. So I just think that you've got to be focused. I said, you know what? That's the story. That's the story. Like, how do you continue your work and still be a viable parent and a great, whether it's an employee or owning your own business? And all of a sudden, you got to be a math teacher too. These are new issues that we're dealing with. And that was a good story that actually got her press, my friends. Check that out, right? And so then I've got my client, she's a relationship expert. She's written a self-published book. Now, really what she does is she writes letters for people. All those letters that you don't want to write about you're sorry, or love letters, or sometimes eulogies. She's an amazing letter writer. And her whole business has been about this. But now I have her as the quarantine Cupid. She's also a psychologist, I might add, right? And so we're doing fun things around that, how to communicate during quarantine. And that's been wonderful. Great. Clint, what more? How can I help?
I don't think there are any other questions aside from testimonials coming from alumni.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, my friends who have taken this course and putting in your kind testimonials. I really appreciate that. That's super. And I'm just going to re-invite all of you to come and take the course. At the pandemic pricing, honestly, it's never been this affordable and this wonderful to take it. It's a great time because I want you set up for success from now to the future, right? And so like Millie was asking me, I've got tactics, strategies, and systems that you're going to have that are going to set you up for success. I've got a 30-day system, a 60-day system, and a 90-day system. We're actually doing it in the course. And then you have it that can be replicated for every and any project you're working on for the future. So I love that. That's really helpful. Okay, who else? I saw something come across, but anyone else got a specific question or something I can help you with in getting your name out there? Anyone else? And thank you, Chuck, for your wonderful message about National Speakers Association. That's where I know Chuck from. And tell Larry thank you for shouting out the publicity course. That was really, really wonderful. Millie, you're asking about insight, but I missed the question. Go ahead and take yourself off mute and ask me the question.
So what my business is about is helping seniors move into senior living. I work with families on this question. Yes. And senior living is getting an extremely bad rap right now. And it is what it is. So all I can do now, I feel, is lay the groundwork for the future, because senior living is not going away and people are not going to stop getting old. So in the future, there will be business again. But right now, honestly, it's an understandable fear that people have. They don't want to put their loved one
absolutely
in congregate living. They don't even want to put them on a cruise ship, which is a lot more fun. So any insight about the 30, 60, 90-day planning?
So you definitely want to be setting up for success. But, you know, Millie, you could go out with a story about, you know, is senior living really that unsafe? Question mark. And provide some insights on it, maybe with some quotes from some of your clients so that you could give them some publicity, you know, or when I say clients, not only the people who are placed in these places, but also the homes, you know, that they are, meaning the assisted care homes or different facilities.
Right.
I think that could be a really, shall we say, interesting story, you know, kind of take the other tactic and confront it, because that's what they're thinking. You might as well confront it.
Yeah, right. I am writing a story right now, an article, whatever, about the difference between assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing. Very, very big difference. Very high rates in skilled nursing, very low rates in assisted living, but they're just sort of blended together by the media. So
yeah, but I would, you know, as I'm thinking about it, I just think this would be a powerful story, and I think it would get you some great visibility. Be interesting. You could try it out locally and see if it flies, and then I'd go nationwide with it. It's a good story. Are assisted livings that unsafe? Question mark. You know what I'm saying? I think that would really be interesting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Clint, I saw Renee was saying something. What is she saying about Saturday? There was something about Saturday when I gave a presentation.
Well, yeah, she mentioned that on Saturday you provided her with what to know before you go. So, as a
Yes.
healthcare advocate, right? So, she mentioned that I am continuously getting questions about navigating healthcare during a pandemic. So, I think it's more of a comment, but yeah, you might want.
Beautiful. Yes, and Renee, I love that. That was just guided. And I love what to know before you go. And I hope that you're developing that story even bigger and bolder, and we can, you know, keep massaging it. And then of course you got to put it out there, right? So a step at a time, my friends, but let's take that first step. And that's my point, is you got to take the first step, know the right way to get your PR out there, take the journey. I think I lay it out pretty darn easy. We've worked diligently to make the process quite simple and make it so that it is a process, right? Because I think that's one reason why people fall off the wagon, so to speak, with publicity is maybe, you know, for some of you it just is too much to think about. So I take pride in, shall we say, reducing it and keep making it really simple to get it done easily and to keep in a system to do it, 2 words, consistently and persistently. I think will make a big difference for all of you. Beautiful. Is there one other question or any comment any of you have? Do you recommend hiring an agent? You know, Renee, it just depends where you're at. We can have a separate conversation about that. You know, a PR agency is going to cost you between $3,000 and $5,000 a month, and you need to work with them. Yeah, you need to work with them. Honestly, 3 to 6 months. for actual results, right? Because if you want real results, you have to stay invested with time and money. So one thing I always recommend is, let's figure out some great guerrilla publicity tactics. I mean, I've saved people, $30,000 in hiring PR agencies by getting publicity done in a, shall we say, a different way, training your staff. And if you don't have staff, we'll find you some, right? And doing it so that things keep really simplified. So you don't necessarily have to spend that kind of money, nor do I actually recommend it in most cases, with some rare exceptions for, some short-term focus. Like when my book came out, yeah, I actually worked with a PR agency, and that's one of the reasons I got on 7 Fox TV News interviews. But if you knew what that really cost, you'd probably fall on the floor. So, and I was willing to invest it because for me, that was important, right? So it just depends what your priorities are in the moment. And I think that's really important, right? About figuring out where your priorities are and what it is that is most important to you. And when I say, if you don't have staff, we'll find you some. What I mean by that is, for instance, Clint, who's worked with me for a year and a half now, I think around that, Clint, right? He came through a wonderful agency that I use, and it's done such a great job and really an essential part of my team right now. So I have great resources of places where you can get great staff people that I then, with most of my clients, have trained to do publicity the right way. And that's very possible, very affordable, and much simpler than you'd imagine. So what I've been doing with my clients, my private clients, is that I'm really just what I call training that person, and they are getting the publicity done, like a PR agency would, except without the high cost. And that's a good thing. And that's what I mean about kind of, I've worked around this now, and I have a good way, procedures to get things done like a PR agency would. Listen, I'll just tell you, 10 years ago, I owned my PR agency. My fee at that time was $5,000 a month. And, for that, I guaranteed people a lot of hours of consistent pitching and focused work and intentionality, plus messaging and everything else around their PR. And, it was a $30,000 investment, because 6 months, I told you to plan ahead 3, 6, and 9 months. Just so you know, PR starts hitting usually about 4 to 6 months in. And the reason people fail in PR is because you give up too much, too quickly. I'm just going to tell you straight, that's a problem. Don't give up. Keep doing it. Keep consistent and persistent in the marketplace. And even when, my book came out, Profit of Kindness, a year and a half ago, so what? We got a new story for right now, because, hey, kindness is still an issue. We've got World Kindness Day, November 13th. We've got a kindness summit coming up. We stay out in the marketplace. And I think that's really an important piece for all of you, is you got to stay out in the marketplace. And again, that's kind of where people fall off is, if somebody doesn't call you back, like the media, you go, oh, well, no, you just get right back in that cage, and keep batting. That's the point. You got to keep going. You got to stay consistent, persistent, consistent, persistent. Really want you to remember those key words. It's very important. Very important. Clint, we'll take one more question if somebody's got it. I saw one comment go by. You seeing anything? You're on mute.
No, I don't think there are any more questions.
Okay, beautiful. Well, go ahead and just post in the chat again how they can come to the course. And
Sherry's,
Sherry,
yeah.
Sherry, I'll take one more question. Sure, go for it.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it's not a
Yes.
question, it's just a comment. and a testimonial. I said I wrote a press release that you guided, and I ended up having an interview and an article on the front page of the lifestyle section of Marin IJ. That was in September. So that was just a thank you.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. And I'm so glad you deserve it. I know you've been plugging away at your wonderful project for quite a while, and it's going to pop, right?
Yes.
And I think that's always, it's always the important part, right? Is pop what you're doing, and so that what you're doing gets seen in the media. I think that's really important. And I'm so happy for you. And thank you for the kind comments.
Sure.
You know, I think that's really the important part, is that sometimes you just really gotta keep it out there. And for some reason people kind of think, one and done. Well, no, my friends, it's consistent and persistent is the words to keep in your brains. Consistent and persistent. And, by the way, this could be 1 hour a week. This doesn't have to be like all, oh my gosh, all the time. It is maybe an hour a week. And just, stay focused on that. Start there first. And then I promise you, great results. Clint, go ahead back over to Gallery View. And I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for spending your time and energy with me. I know that that's one of our greatest resources these days, time and energy. So I'm excited to have you here. I want you to go out and start getting your messages out there. I'm looking forward to those of you who I'll be seeing in my courses coming right up, and just delighted and thrilled you've joined me. And I leave you with, one big thing, and that is your message matters. Your message matters. Thank you, everyone. Keep it out there, and ciao for now.
Thank you very much, Jill. You're the best.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
Very much, Jill.
Thanks, Jill.
You're so welcome.
Bye. Thank you, Jill.
Bye. You're welcome.